Translating the Piel, Factitive. The Factitive is the first translation possibility we're going to look at for the Piel. And what this means again is that if you have a verb in the cal that is a stative, okay, something like he was old, stative, then in the Piel, if it is using this or if it's functioning as a factitive, then it's going to cause the state to happen on something else. The other way to look at this is if the verb in the cal is intransitive. Intransitive means it has no object. Okay, he was old. There's no object. You don't old someone. It's a description of the state of the subject. Okay. In the Piel, if it is factitive, then it's going to cause this state to happen on something else. And so it's going to become transitive. There's no object here in the cal, and there will be in the Piel. Now, this is a bit abstract, so let's look at some examples. Here we have the word gadal. This is in the cal. To be great, or he was great. So let me write that down. He was great. And you can see that this is a stative. It's describing something about the subject. It's a state. He's not grating anyone. He's simply, he was great. Okay. Now, in the Piel, if you want to translate this as a factitive, then it could be he made great. Save myself some typing here. I'll just copy this. So where we had was, we now want to put he made. Or perhaps, so he made great, or he magnified. It would be a smoother way to talk about it in English. But what's happening here is in the cal, great is describing, well, in English we have an adjective there, but it is a stative describing the state of the subject. Here, this is not talking about the subject. This is talking about he made something else great. So here it's stative, here it's not. Here it's intransitive. There's no object. Here it is transitive. He made something else great. So it's transitivizing, if you want a nice fancy word. So gadal, gadel, he was great, he made great. Shalem, now this is in the cal. He was sound, or he was whole. He was sound, meaning whole. Okay, should write that down. Whole. Now we have this tsere there. That's because it's a stative, right? Stative verbs in the cal perfect can have a tsere theme vowel here, so that's why we have that there. Now here we have the Piel, shilam. Ironically, this is changed here, but we still see the dagesh forte in the middle radical, which is characteristic of Piel, and we have the hitic, which is characteristic of the Piel in the perfect. So we know this is a Piel, shilam, and this means he made great. So here he was sound or whole. Sorry, not he made great. He made sound or whole. Okay, I won't retype the whole thing here. We'll just put down made. So again, similar to what we had with gadal, we have the same thing with shalem. Here we have kalla. He was at an end, or it was at an end, or it was completed. He was at an end. Now in the Piel, he finished, or he completed something else. He completed the project. Killa. Now this is a 3-hay verb. It's actually a weak verb. We'll come to that later, but you can still tell that this is a Piel quite easily because you have the hitic there and you have the dagesh forte here. So again, you have an intransitive here. He was at an end. It's talking about the subject. Here you have a transitive. He completed, and you got some sort of object out here somewhere. Okay, one more I want to talk about, and that is lamad and lemad. So this is the cal. Lamad in the cal means he learned. He learned what? He learned math, okay? At least it could be transitive or intransitive, but it could be both. He learned. And then lemad, believe it or not, means he taught. Okay, interesting. T-A-U-G-H-T, he taught. So here, he learned something, or perhaps just he learned. Here it's he caused learning to happen to something else. Or in other words, he taught, right? Now there's a slight difference between this example and the ones I've shown you. If you go back here, he was at an end, he completed, or he was sound, he made sound. Here you have he learned, he taught. The difference is that, well, first of all, the similarity is that in both cases in the Piel you have causation happening. He caused someone to be whole, or he caused someone to be great in the previous examples. Here he caused someone to learn. Okay? The difference is that in the other examples, the thing that is being caused is a stative. He caused someone to be great. He caused someone to be whole. Those are states. This here isn't necessarily a state. He taught. Okay? He didn't teach a state. He taught. He caused a certain activity, a certain event to happen, learning in his object. Now I bring this up because this is really a causative. Causative. It's a little bit different than the factitive, but you have it in the Piel as well. And I bring this up because we're going to have a binyan in the future called the hifiel, and that is marked by the causative. But Piel can also be causative, as we see here, lamad, lemad. And factitive and causative are quite close in sense. In both cases, you are causing something to happen. The difference is that with the factitive, you're causing a state to happen or to become for some object. And in the causative, that's generally not the case. You're not causing a state. You're causing some activity or some event to happen. So this is looking ahead a little bit to the Piel, or to the hifiel, because the hifiel is marked by causation. But there's also causation within the factitive. So these are a bit tricky. Factitive and causative, there's a slight difference. They both cause, but in the factitive you're causing a state, in the causative you're not. One last thing, we kind of have this in English, this whole thing with factitive. If you say to be normal, that would be a state, for something to be normal. If you say something was normalized, or to normalize something, you add the I-Z-E at the end, normalize, then you're causing the state to happen. So in English, if you add I-Z-E to the end, you effectively have a factitive. It's causing a state to happen. Normal, or to be normal, to normalize. Okay, so there you have one use of the Piel is as a factitive, causing a state that would normally be expressed with a cal to happen on an object.